Hi guys, and welcome back to Claire's Clues. On today's video, I want to talk to you about the book Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goldman. Now, there are 8 different types of intelligence that have been categorized, but today I want to talk to you specifically about emotional intelligence. So, you might be wondering, well, what is emotional intelligence? And to put it simply, it's the difference between a robot that has all the knowledge it needs to execute a plan versus someone who's rather charismatic and outgoing and can move a whole crowd or a whole audience emotionally. So Goldman says that those who have just enough IQ to get into a decent university and an incredible amount of EQ are the ones who generally pull in the most amount of money. So the question is how can you develop and cultivate your EQ? And there's 5 areas of which you can work on for growth to increase your EQ. And those 5 basic areas are 1, self-awareness, 2, managing emotions, 3, self-motivation, 4 is empathy, and the 5th is handling relationships. All right, so with that in mind, I want to jump straight into the first topic, and this one is all about ventilation fallacy. So you might have heard in the past someone say to you that if you're feeling angry or troubled, you should probably vent about it and get your feelings out. But it turns out that after several studies and examination of this method, it turns out to not be the best for you, because instead of actually helping you to overcome those feelings of, anger and frustration, what you might find is it actually prolongs the feeling of dismay and anger, and instead it's rather counterproductive when it comes to trying to achieve overcoming that feeling. But with that said, it is okay to vent when you're feeling upset or sad, because it generally tends to help work out why it is you're upset, and then you can work through that. But other than that, try not to vent, because what you'll find is it's rather toxic to your mind, and it won't help produce any positive results. All right. So jumping into our next one here, it's called Don't Ruminate Over Things, but instead try to find distractions. So we've all at some point in time been at the mercy of our own thoughts. So whether we worried about other people's opinions of us, or whether we worry, our perception or how they perceive us, things like this, what we find is that, sorry guys, I've lost my train of thought on this one. Right, so regardless of what it is that, we may be thinking or feeling about that, what we find is that once you start to find distractions that take your mind off these things, you'll start to discover a newfound confidence and generally a certainty in yourself. So whether you join the gym or you take up a linguistics class or something like that, no matter what it is you do to keep yourself busy or distracted in any way, you'll find that over time and with consistent input, you won't find yourself pondering over these thoughts or feelings of others that, their opinions of you, things like that. And you'll no longer feel trapped in your thoughts of negativity. So you just need to keep on keeping busy. All right, so jumping into the next topic here, it's called self-motivation. And self-motivation is strongly tied to willpower. And most of the time, a passion will drive you to do something. So what we find is that you need to find something that you have a passion in, and you'll likely have tons of motivation to go along with it. But at this point in time, you'll also have to have self-awareness, because what you'll find is that you need to be aware of what it is that you enjoy doing, because this will help drive you forward and keep you doing the things that you either love or you just simply enjoy doing. Now, with that said, there are 4 things that people are generally motivated by. Usually it's only 1, but there are 4 to pick from. So I'll start with the first one. And the first one here is money. Oh, on a bit of a side note as well, they all start with M. So the first one is money. This is monetary gain or value of some kind. Now the second one is mating. This is generally refers to a sexual or romantic connection or motivation of some kind. The third is momentum, which is basically freedom to do what you want, when you want, and always be growing. And the last but not least is mastery. So this is basically a status thing or being known as a great leader. Now, diving into the next topic here, it's called the ability to delay gratification. And the best example of this was the marshmallow experiment that they did with a handful of children. Now, if you haven't heard of this, I'll give you a bit of a rundown. It's where they took a group of kids and they put them in their rooms, or a room, by themselves, and they gave them a marshmallow. And they said to them, look, You can have this marshmallow, or you can wait 2 minutes for the researcher to come back, and then you can have another. So they can have 2 marshmallows. So the whole purpose of this was to see if they would delay gratification in order to have those 2 marshmallows. Now, what they found after following up with these kids about 15 to 20 years later is that the ones that had chosen to use delayed gratification and actually practiced it throughout their lives tended to be more academically inclined and generally had a higher emotional intelligence as well. All right, so moving on, the next topic I want to talk about with you guys is called emotions are contagious. So it's sort of all in the title in this one, but there was a study performed where a high energy level person was placed in a room with a low level person, or a low energy level person, sorry. One might even say near depressed, because they were pretty down and out. But before they had them enter the room, they had them actually fill in a questionnaire about how they were feeling. And what they found was, upon reviewing the results of, the questionnaire from the beginning towards the end, they found that the higher energy level person actually transferred their emotions onto the low level person, enabling them to feel a little bit happier and a bit more outgoing than what they were when they first entered that room. So this represents how emotions can be contagious and can rub off on those around us. So stay positive, guys. And last but not least is empathy. So this is known as the ability to feel and react to others' emotions. So great leaders have the ability to sense other people's emotions and know how to pull them out of a rut, and generally it's in a time of need. So this is what gives them the edge needed to be a great leader, and they can be perceived as highly intelligent in any field. So the best advice is that you just need to talk to people about their feelings on an emotional level and just see how it is that they tick. Alright guys, so I'll quickly do a recap of all this for you as best as I can, just to make sure you haven't missed anything. So the first part here I was talking about how there are 8 different types of intelligence, but today we were talking about emotional intelligence in particular. And to put it simply, if you're wondering what it was, it's really the difference between a robot that has all the knowledge needed to execute a plan versus a charismatic and outgoing person who can move a whole audience or crowd of people simply using emotion. Now, Goldman goes on to say that those who have just enough IQ to get into a decent university, but an incredible amount of EQ, are generally the ones who have the ability to bring in quite a bit of money. So if you're wondering how you can develop or even cultivate your EQ, there were 5 basic areas that you can work on for growth in those areas. And the first one was self-awareness. The second is managing emotions. The third is self-motivation. Fourth is empathy. And the fifth is handling relationships. Now, the first big topic I spoke about was ventilation fallacy. Now, this is where, social norm is that if you're angry or frustrated about something, you generally want to speak about it and vent. You want to, tell everyone how bad it is or how horrible it was. But after examination and, studies done over the years, they found that it wasn't necessarily the best thing to do, simply because you're not actually moving on from that feeling, but instead you're ruminating in it. You're sitting in it and dwelling on it and thinking about it and invoking emotion that would go along with it, instead of finding ways to move past it. So it can be rather toxic if you want to dwell and vent on whatever it is that's going on. But with that said, when it comes to things like if you're feeling sad, it generally does help to speak about things, to find out why it is that you're upset. That way you can help to move through whatever it is you're going through. But outside of that, try not to vent, guys, because it's generally toxic to you and your mind. And what you find is it won't actually produce any positive results. Now, moving on to the second topic, guys, I was speaking about how it says don't ruminate over things, but instead try to find distractions. So this is where you might be in your head and you're thinking, I wonder what that person thinks about me, or did I say that right, or did they understand me, or whatever it might be. We tend to get into our own minds when it comes to certain things that we do or say. So instead of dwelling on whatever it is that we're thinking about and other people's perceptions or opinions of us, we need to find other outlets, other ways to keep ourselves distracted so that we're not sitting in that negativity. So maybe you join a cooking class, maybe you take up linguistics, or maybe you want to go join the gym, whatever that might be for you. Just find a way to keep yourself distracted, because you'll find that by doing this, you're not going to dwell on those negative thoughts anymore, and you'll find a way to move past all of it. And by doing so, you'll find a newfound confidence and certainty in yourself. And that'll start to shine through over time. So just keep on keeping busy. And the third one I spoke about here was self-motivation. So self-motivation is strongly tied to willpower, and most of the time a passion will drive you to do something. So find something that you have a passion in, and you'll likely have tons of self-motivation to go along with it. And what you'll find that at this point in time, you'll need self-awareness at this point, because you need to be aware of what it is that you enjoy doing. Because you'll find that will drive you forward to keep you doing the thing that you love or the thing that you really enjoy doing. All right. Now, I did speak quickly about the people are motivated by one of 4 things, and they all start with M. So the first one was money. So this is generally around monetary value and that was it. Monetary value or something along those lines. The second one was mating. So this is in regards or generally references a sexual or romantic connection or motivation. And momentum was the third. So it's freedom to do what you want, when you want, and continually always be growing. And last but not least, the fourth one is mastery. So this is basically a status-driven thing. This is where you want to be acknowledged or recognized for being a great leader. All right, so they're the 4 M's. And moving on, I spoke about the ability to use delayed gratification. So this is the marshmallow test with the kids that they did, how they had the option to either have the marshmallow in the beginning or wait, 2 to 5 minutes, and they could have another one. So the kids that they found that used that delayed gratification found that over time, after 15, 20 years when they caught up with them, that because they were able to use that then and then throughout their lives, they were more academically inclined and had a higher emotional intelligence overall. And the second last one that I spoke about here was emotions are contagious. So this is just an acknowledgement of the fact that whatever mood you're in, you'll find that it tends to rub off on people around you. So if you have a high energy person right next to you and you're not feeling great for the day, you might find that spending a few hours with them or even just an hour can make a big difference to your day or even your mood, because emotions do rub off. So you'll find that if you're feeling a bit down and out, maybe go hang out with someone who's, feeling a bit more positive and outgoing than you are for the day, or, someone that can make up for how you're not feeling, because it will make a big difference to you and it will make a big difference to your outcome for the day. And last but not least, guys, talking about empathy. So this is known as the ability to feel and react to people's emotions. So great leaders have the ability to sense others' emotions and know how to pull them out of a rut in times of need. So this is what gives them the edge needed to be a great leader. So they can actually they're generally perceived as highly intelligent in any field. But the best advice I can give you is that just go out and talk to people and find out their feelings on an emotional level and just see how it is that they tick. All right, guys, that's all from me. I hope you enjoyed that so far. Now, we'll be making a lot more of these videos for this training series to help you with your personal development goals. But until next time, leave a comment below on what you like the most, and I look forward to seeing you next time in Claire's Clues. Bye, guys.